Hey everyone, thanks very much for joining us. This is the third episode of Digital Creator Daily. I'm Rob from Hey Summit, and we're speaking with some creators, thought leaders, platforms, and just strategists, all talking about the creator economy, thought leader economy, whatever you want to call it. Anything to do with using digital tools to build your own business or to raise your own profile. That's what we're all about. So this is hopefully going to be an interactive experience. So please feel free to add your comments in, talk a bit about what we're going to be talking about. I am very excited to have Alex Abell here. He's the founder and CEO of Lunch Break. And he's
Lunchpool.
Lunchpool, and he is the lunch break enforcer. Apologies, Alex.
No worries.
And Lunchpool is a networking startup that uses emerging technology from around the globe to bring people together for meaningful social experiences. His background is in digital marketing and has worked with brands like Verizon Wireless, Ashley Home Store, Expedia, Bose, Bank of America. They all kind of led him to believe that the corporate world could use a lot more connection between people who are doing all of that work. Alex is passionate about the intersection of people and technology and is on a mission to show the world that breaking is a good thing. I would definitely love to explore what you mean by that. And I guess today, we're what I'm hoping to get out of this, Alex, is learn a little bit more about you and why you decided to build Lunchpool and what kind of drove you to do that. But also, I think this is mentioned in the title, addressing the whole idea of maybe the pressure that we all put ourselves on to raise awareness to ourselves by feeling like we need to be everywhere and do everything. And one thing that you said to me a little bit ago, like the difference between engagement and building relationships. And I think a lot of people watching might think that they're one and the same. And so I guess I wanted to start off by welcoming you and maybe digging into that
Uh,
area first. So thanks for joining.
well, thanks, man. Thanks for that mostly true introduction. I'll
Mostly
take
true.
it all. And don't worry about the lunch break. We get that all the time. We get lunch box or lunch break so much that I almost thought about switching our name, but
Mhm.
we're still Lunchpool for a good reason. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think thinking through the lens of certainly the people that we talk to, there's a lot of people have obviously everybody has limited bandwidth. It's about it's about trying to optimize that bandwidth. Sometimes that optimization doesn't end up being very human like, if that makes sense. And you start to use social media automators and bots to generate blog content and things like that. And sometimes we're all wrapped up in the moment, just thinking, oh well, I got to be on Twitter and on Facebook and on LinkedIn 5 times a day, because it's all about hits, it's all about impressions. So maybe build that straw man up and like destroy it for me.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're watching this or if you watch it later, um, I think this is a great discussion, Robin. I appreciate you queuing that up because there's so many people that are trying so hard to elevate their brand, right? It's the age of create. It's the creator economy is emerging, and it's everybody is trying to become a thought leader, an influencer. Just build their community or their tribe. Um, but you got to do it the right way because here's the straw man. Uh, People think that you have to do automation because you look at Gary Vee and you look at people like Gary Vee, and I blanked on other people,
Yeah.
uh, but you know instinctively, you should know that they have a team. They have a whole team that's doing social, probably one person for Instagram, another for Twitter. I think for Gary Vee specifically, I've heard that he has a team follow him around and just basically record him, write down stuff that he says. Uh, that would be an awesome exhibitionist lifestyle, I guess. But for everybody else, if you're just starting out, it's easy to get wrapped up in the automation. And even like for Lunchpool, I tell my team, you can't automate a process that doesn't exist, because I've tried before, and you have to realize that people want you to they want to talk to other humans. They don't want to feel sold to or speak to robots. On my profile, you've seen it probably. The little trick, a little life hack. My name is lightbulb emoji Alexander Abel, and basically uh, what happens is if a bot messages me, it puts question mark Alexander Abel. So I'm just like delete, unconnect, done with it. So
Interesting.
be
Interesting.
human
I
is the
didn't
takeaway
realize
there.
that that's one of the reasons why you did it. I've always
Yeah,
thought that emojis and names on LinkedIn just they stand out in your email when they email you, and that's why
that's
folks use
another.
it.
I guess that's another perk. But for me, it was just defeat the robots.
Nice, nice, interesting, interesting. And so the idea of like going back to I guess what we were, or at least what I kind of set up at the very beginning about this idea of like engagement versus relationship building. I know that this is kind of central to what Lunchpool is it does anyway, and I'd love to kind of get into that and why you think that. But why aren't these the same thing?
Yeah, yeah. So I think there's a couple of things that get conflated on the internet as we know it today. Because so at Lunchpool, just if nobody knows, we find technology like Hey Summit, like Remo was a big one or has been a big one for us. We've got an event on Friday that uses spatial chat. So
Mm-hmm.
we find these platforms that bring people together. So usually virtually, but we've been getting into hybrid stuff. And basically, it's all about bringing people together for meaningful social experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the difference in that than in social media? My thesis, my big Trump speech that I always make, stump speech, not Trump speech,
Careful.
is yeah, I got to be careful on it. Is always that the internet of content is dying. It's like it's on its way out, and the creator economy is one part of what I call the internet of experiences, right? And so I'm getting a little bit of echo, but the uh, the there's two things. So like you had asked about engagement versus relationships. So I get kind of it annoys me whenever I post something I see a great post on LinkedIn that's really interesting, and someone's like, "Oh, I love your content," and I'm like, why is everything content marketing right nowadays? Because everybody's a marketer, and that's social media has become or has made us become media performers. Like we are literally acting and putting on this false version of ourselves when everybody really right now just wants people to be real. I've seen on Instagram when people post no filter, no makeup, just really raw stuff. That's what gets engagement these days. And it's because, as you said, engagement is really just people being interested. It's interest and relationship. So uh, don't get people need to know that you can't get caught up on, oh, I need to improve my engagement, oh, and I need to come up with great content, and I need to post a bazillion times. It's like the algorithms on these social networks, because they know what keeps people in the platform, and it's real meaningful discussion between human beings.
I think that's really interesting because I obviously a lot of people use Hey Summit for content marketing. Like that
Yeah,
they would count it as content marketing. And I think that there's a you have to understand why it is that you're reaching out to people and what the point of it all is. We talk a lot about like attendee personas and trying, people have these grand ideas of building massive summits and with no experience, no background in doing the digital marketing con 2021. And then when you're like, well, why do you want to do this? Like, what's motivating you? Oh, well, there's never been a digital marketing con right in this way. It's like, okay,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
sure.
Yeah, maybe that's true. But
Maybe
also
not this week.
exactly, not this week. Yeah, but you hear this, you hear this and the excitement is definitely there. I think that the excitement and the passion is definitely there. But then when you dig down to it, like it's that whatever that seven levels of why, you end up getting to the point of I want more people to know me.
Mhm.
And they're kind of masking this wish to be known in a way that is like but I can't say that. Like I can't, that's arrogant. So no, I'm going to do the digital marketing con and that's going to be great. Whereas if you do break that down and be like, no, just be okay with you saying you want people to know you.
Yeah.
How do you do that with your friends? How do you do that with people who you think identify with you? Do you
Yeah.
please everybody? No, of course not. Some people are dicks and whatever it is. And something that you were saying, it's meaningful human connections. Even the people like Gary V or the other kind of thought leaders, I think if they're good at what they do, it is because it is a formula that they crafted that is then able to be taught rather than they've come up with the formula and they've executed on it. A lot of people are like start off without scalable, solutions and then figure out a way of scaling them. And
Yeah.
that really is important. But as you say, like just getting out there and tweeting 3 times a day isn't going to cut it because an opportunity of having 3 people show up to an actual event that you had, those 3 people have opted in a hell of a lot more than the 3,000 people that might have seen your tweet.
Yeah.
And it does take a while for people to get that. And so it's fascinating that to hear how you describe it, because I would see it as like awareness building versus activating. Those are 2 very different things. You can
Yeah.
do events like we're doing this right now. We're not taking people's emails. We're not taking, details of people. We're not activating people in any way.
Maybe
We're not
you're
trying to
not.
convert.
No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. I have LinkedIn scrapers going on. But for us, yeah, this is live. This is hopefully a meaningful conversation, and it's awareness building, but it's not interaction. We're not chalking this up to like we've done good in terms of getting people engaged and us being responsible for that engagement yet.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you're so adamant about how these are 2 different things, and you should
Yeah.
not be thinking about them in the same way.
Yeah. And I'll just jump in. You touched briefly on uh, people want to be known. And I think it goes down to a deep psychological level, right? It's we're scared of death, which whether you say it or not, I mean, literally, it's like I want people to remember me and know me well into the future. I want, that's why I have children because I love my child. I have a beautiful baby daughter or 3-year-old daughter. How is she not a baby? But we want to be remembered. We want to, to exist into perpetuity. And so I think that's really what drives a lot of behaviors. It's ego, if you know anything about psychology. And I'm guilty of it just as much as anyone. We that event that we're throwing Friday, um, my VP was like, why are we doing this? And I was like, you do not want to do it? And he's like, no, we should do it, but I want to know why. Like, what is the outcome that we're trying to get? And I had to really think about it and and kind of shuffle. It's like I was like, I want to do an event. It was exactly what you said, and so we got a little bit more strategic about it, right? I was like, I want to show off all of our cool toys to our prospects and our current customers, right? I don't want to sell to them. I want to show them what we have, give them an experience to where they'll probably want to buy, or at least they'll get some ideas on what they can do. And so it's that that fear of death, that loneliness that everybody's feeling it now. That's what made me start Lunchpool. I really was. I was in corporate America, surrounded by people, and I only knew my lunch pool. The 3 or 4 people that I went to lunch with, like a carpool back and forth to the lunch break, and my wife started packing my lunch, and so I'm sitting there at my desk like, God, I'm surrounded by people and I'm lonely, and I see all these other sad saps, with their lunch boxes, getting salad in their keyboards and just scrolling mindlessly through social media, and that's what really put me on this tirade of social media is junk food. It's digital junk food, and conversations like this, some of the events that I've seen in Hay Summit specifically, that usually the ones that I prefer are the ones that integrate with Remo, just because we host a ton of those, and you can have these smaller discussions. Like um, we used to say that we were trying to explain what we did and what we were when we were still trying to figure it out. Because I was like, we use technology to bring people together, and they're like, yeah, but what does that mean? And I'm like, we use technology to bring people together. And they're like, okay.
I'm speaking English.
Yeah, can you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? But what we would say is the best conversations happen around tables and in smaller groups around the size of your average carpool. It's, if you're in the car, you don't have much else to talk or to do than to talk about each other, or play little games like I Spy. But that is where the magic happens at conferences. Let's think of an in-person summit, right? Um, for me, there's the draw, right? If Dolly Parton, who is a national treasure, I'm in Tennessee, so if she was speaking or singing,
Worldwide.
yeah, exactly. And
National
she
treasure. International.
in Scotland. She's in Ireland, Scotland, Britain. My wife's from Germany. Everybody loves Dolly. So if let's say she was a keynote, because we did an event for her charity, the Imagination Library. So let's say that was an in-person event. She actually shows up. It's not pre-recorded. That's awesome. That's going to draw a bunch of people into that event. Now they're going to get some value out of listening to her, but I would argue that the real value in conferences happens in the hallways. It happens in the networking functions. That's when people are actually getting together and discussing valuable things. So that was a long diatribe to just say that yes, people are lonely and people are ego driven, but you don't have to be. It's all about connection.
Exactly, but I also think so ego driven is usually seen as a negative thing, but it's also can be a pretty strong driver for getting you, uh, closer to your goals, right?
Yeah.
I think there's another thing that we all want to feel useful. I think there's a certain amount of lazy joy that you can feel being the host of the party and not interacting with everybody, but seeing everybody talking to one another and having a good time. And
I
so,
completely agree.
if you, at the end of the day, it was still your party. And yeah, fine, you cooked, you did whatever, you brought them all together, you invited the right people, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you didn't really do very much. They met each other, they hit it off. That's all good. It's like my mom is a amateur matchmaker. She loves bringing people together, and she will claim responsibility for all of these wonderful marriages, even though it
They've
wasn't
been
a lot
together
of
for
work.
25 years, and I was the
Exactly,
one that put
exactly.
them together. Yeah.
But I think that we all want to be useful, and at least when we talk to creators or thought leaders, especially people who don't have an audience, they feel like they're already behind, and that's why if you do events, if you organize events, you are bringing people together. You're relying on other people's audiences. You're cross pollinating. All these wonderful terms. But at the end of the day, you can feel valuable, even though you aren't necessarily the one imparting the knowledge.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's something really nice about that and really alluring about that. And I think a lot of people who don't necessarily think they have a lot to say, but for some reason they still want to be known. I see that as a trait, kind of like what you're doing. I know you probably have a lot of opinions, and I'd love to hear them about, why should you build your business in this way? All that kind of stuff. But fundamentally, you're obsessing over the need for human connections, but fundamentally it's about bringing those people together, not necessarily about owning a particular market or a thought leadership aside from bringing people together. It's a bit meta, but I just find that really interesting.
Well, I'll call out one of my good friends, Phil Gerbyshak. He hit me with something that just stuck with me. So I was transitioning from a marketing role to more of a um, like a data and analytics role. So at Ashley Furniture, I was on their business intelligence team, and I had no idea what I was doing. And so what he told me was, he's like, you need to realize, because he's in sales. He said everybody is a salesperson. I was like, I'm doing data analytics. He's like, no, you have to sell your dashboards. You have to sell your ideas to make sure people use them. And we started talking about social media. He said something that always sticks with me. Social media is a megaphone, and if you are awesome, everybody's going to know it, and you're going to get a ton of engagement and build a ton of relationships. But if you suck, you're going to suck real loud. So don't suck. And so I think that is what people need to realize is, like, you can't be a thought leader if you're thoughtless. Like, you have to talk about things that are important to people. And so building out those those topics can't come without passion. It has to come from what you're interested in. So like my brain was like when you started talking about cross pollinator or cross pollinating. That was our first. We did some marketing research, and that was our first early adopter persona. And it's important to identify those, right? You're gonna kind of suck in the beginning because you're gonna be trying everything out and trying to figure something out that is scalable and can drive business. My wife almost made me go back to getting a corporate job after a year of no revenue. She was like, okay, this was fun, are you gonna make money with this ever? Thankfully we're like a $1.2 million company now, so uh, and growing, and hopefully growing fast. We'll see. Um, but it's about those topics. I tell everybody, find the four things that you just if it comes up, you go crazy with it, even if you're an introvert. And those are the things that you should research more, you should talk about more, and you can build your audience around it. You can build your community around it, really. Mine happens to be, you said cross pollinating. I stumbled upon a subset of social media analysis or social network analysis called network weaving. I'm not going to talk about it because I could talk about it for days, but it's basically that. It's taking the networks you're in and doing what your mom did, connecting people. Or was it your mom or your aunt? Either way, it's
My
connecting
mom, but
people.
yeah,
Your mom.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's super important, and I don't think people just need it to feel important. I think there's types of people that's what they do and they do well. So I would say that she could be responsible for that relationship because what if they never had met?
Exactly, but that's the point, But when you're talking about legacy, when you're talking about impact, how are you going to be memorable to another person? Being responsible for setting y'all up means that you're responsible for any bit of happiness you can lay your claim on. Like
Yeah.
that's easy. Whereas trying to teach you something, and and it's a harder thing, and it's a space that's very crowded.
Yeah.
Just a type of mentality that's pretty crowded.
I'll
Um,
tell you real quick.
yeah.
If you want to get the most engagement on social media, like again, social media is my enemy, but I'm on it and I'm hooked on it too. Um, but if you want to get the best engagement uh, and get people to really interact with you, ask them for advice, right? It's the opposite of being a thought leader, but holy crap, people love right now to tell you something that you don't know. If you want to do the opposite, tell them something without having built that trust and relationship. You'd be like, oh, here's three things that you need to do to start the creator, start your role in the creator economy. And people would just gloss over it because they get so much of that, it's not going to grab their attention. But if you're like, hey, how is it? Is anybody doing anything that works to actually build an audience, and people will come out of the woodworks to be like, I know, I know, I know. So,
Or I don't know, but
or I don't
I'd
know.
love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to learn. And that's
Yeah.
absolutely right. I think it kind of goes back to, and again, this is going to talk about my mom again. She went to went to finishing school. Well brought up on the right way to go about things, and there's some lessons there in if you're wanting to endear someone to you, ask them questions, not just about themselves, just ask them
Yeah.
questions. And it's weird, I used to work as a career in a kind of career advice type of role, and I'd say that all the time. If you're wanting to network and you're wanting someone to like you, the easiest way is just ask them questions the whole night. They will imprint how brilliant you are because you're asking them such interesting questions. And
Yeah.
for some reason, even though they haven't extracted one iota of intelligence from you about you telling them something that they didn't know, they somehow think that you're intelligent and that you're engaging and you're a good person to know and that you're respectful. And I guess that's kind of like what you're saying in terms of like engage with people. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily matter how they like an engagement with someone isn't you ranting them about three reasons why their things aren't working or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all connected. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know how old you are, but I'm old. I don't look it, but I'm like 107. But I remember the early days of the internet, and I had some early success in college. We had a blog called Dear Drunk Me, and I'm not going to talk about that much because it's kind of embarrassing.
Okay.
But we got fairly large, and now they have a country song about it. But I should have trademarked it. But what I learned is back then blogs were just now starting off, just like podcasts are right now. It was getting big, and blog rolls were a thing, right? You reach out to other blogs about the same size, and you say, "Hey, can we trade links?" Because it helped everybody, and they usually would, as long as you didn't go to like a huge blog, because they're like, "Who the heck are you?" And so you could grow together. To me, the creator economy and building out your audience and building those relationships is similar. If you look at people that are the most successful, they're active on social media, like really active, like I am crazy. My mom's like, "Do you do work?" And I said, "Yes, mom. If you're watching this, I do." Um, but it's look at all the other people that are also trying to build themselves in the creator economy. Go and talk to them. Go comment on their stuff. You want people to comment on yours, build some reciprocity, and in the meantime, you'll find that they will, they'll return the favor because they're like, man, I'm actually getting comments from Rob Gelb. He's commenting on my stuff. I should talk to him more. And it's crazy how that will start to build your community. It doesn't have to be other creators, just anybody that is saying stuff that you're interested in. Go and browse around and look at it, and you won't realize it, but you're doing market development as well because you're finding what you're interested in and finding what people are talking about, which is the whole reason behind the creator economy. My
Exactly.
mom
And
is my mom is actually here.
oh,
Sorry,
really
Joe.
awesome. Okay, so Alex is working. Don't worry. um, in terms of so something you had kind of sent through was this idea of empathy tech. Can you what do you mean by that? What do you mean by empathy tech?
Yeah. So I'm a marketer, so I brand
Oh yeah, it's a
damn
great,
near
great.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, for a while, I was trying empathitech because I was trying to think of, we have all these partnerships, like that's what we are. I was trying to build an app at first. You can't really see it on my screen, but there was an app in the early days that we were trying to build that was essentially just a social network, but inside companies. Um, building, as you probably know, building software is very hard and somewhat expensive. And so, luckily, we stumbled across Remo was the first one, right? And that was back in August of 2019. And I think I was one of, if not their first customer for the conference solution. I was like, this is awesome. I love this. Can I do an event? I don't have any money. He's like, it's okay. I'm not making money back then. And so, we were able to do 400 events since last March. And the reason is because it's a tool, it's a platform that allows you, if you want to be like that party host that you mentioned, if you want to bring people together, you can do that. And that's what builds empathy. That's what builds that understanding between people that, hey, we're all human. And so we've been, I say we search the globe, and it's actually true. We have partners in Cyprus, in China, in Germany, like all over the place. And so we find these tools that are on Product Hunt that maybe nobody knows about, and we give them a chance. We're like, that's my favorite thing to do is to go play. I'm like, let me go test this out. Oh, this sucks really bad. It's beyond help. Let me go to this other one. Holy cow, this is going to bring people together. They just need a little bit of product direction. And so empathy tech to me is this new emerging world of technology that was like, it was growing, and then COVID happened and it was like because people want to get together, people want that human connection and empathy building, and it's in the workplace, especially enterprise is going nuts over empathy tech, whether they know it or not, because they're like, how do I connect my people literally, like I was alone sitting in a room with 50 people, now I'm sitting in a room with one person. If I was in a corporate role, I would probably be watching Netflix right now or something. Sorry, mom, but it's true.
Well, I
And
mean,
sorry, past employers.
no, but also I mean, on that, I mean, we've been remote, since the beginning, and I have to say, COVID has changed the way in which a lot of corporates see remote. Before it was like, how do you know that people are working? Whereas now, it seems like they get that, like, oh, maybe we should be encouraging people to turn off because they're working too hard and they're
Yeah.
burning out. I think that's Um,
Eric hates that. I came up with the word plork, and they were like, "No, plorking. It's like fetch on Mean Girls. They're like plorking will never be a thing.
will never be
It's
a thing. Let's
work
make it
and
a thing.
play. Come on."
All right, Eric. Yeah, let's make it a thing. um, uh, briefly on tools, just to dig into that for a second, and then I'd love to kind of talk a little bit more um, about why you kind of started the business and everything. We obviously look at a lot of tools too, so I guess I just wanted to see if you tried any of these for your
Yeah.
research. Have you tried TeamFlow?
Oh, you actually told me about Team
Okay.
Flow. I've been talking to Florian, who
Flow.
goes by
Yeah, yeah,
Flo,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
awesome that his
Florent.
company is
Yeah,
named,
Florent.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
Florian, yeah. And we love it. We're actually, my team's like, when are we switching over to that virtual office? Because we've been using Veertly, which we love for our virtual office, but this feels a little bit
We use
realer.
it for our virtual office too.
Nice,
So if you want like a guest area or something, you can come in.
nice.
So that one definitely to check out. How about Cosmos? You check them out?
I, I
Cosmos
haven't seen
Video,
Cosmos. No, COSMOS.
Cosmos.video, or at least it was. Uh,
I'm typing it in so I'll remember it later.
and then so
Oh,
they're a cool
cool. That,
bunch.
that looks cool. It looks like a video
Yeah.
game. I love
It's like
those
it's
platforms.
kind of like GatherTown in a way, but like you
Yeah.
can go around and it still uses some spatial, not so much spatial audio, but like when you get close to someone, then your cameras
It's got
turn
the
on.
little bubbles. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then also Spaces. We're talking with them quite a bit, and they like allow you to have like embedded uh, uh, audio conversations whenever you want. So like you can not audio conversations, but like audio communities. So you
Mm.
create an audio room and have a whole bunch of people in
Is it kind of
there.
like Clubhouse or?
Like if you wanted to make your own, so like for us, let's say you
Mhm.
wanted to have your talk, each talk was its own little mini clubhouse that works in a
Yeah.
browser. It's
Mm.
basically like that. And so you can invite people on the stage and they can talk. So it does look very similar to Clubhouse, but that's pretty cool too.
Yeah. Don't get
Anyway,
me started. Don't get me started on Clubhouse.
deep dive into.
What's yeah? Put it in the comments later. I want to check them out too.
I will. I
Um,
will. I
and
will.
and
But
this is what I love though. This is forking because you mentioned it to me. I mean, this you were the connector there. You were your mom, and you were like, "Oh, you got to check out this tool," and I did. And now he's like, "Oh, we want to kind of get into the world of events. We do co-working space, and we're planning an event right now." So like that, you
it
can
works.
if that
Yeah.
works out, you can say, "I made that
Oh
happen."
yeah. I'll take credit. Oh,
You
absolutely. Happy to take credit. Yeah.
know?
But so you were working in corporate America. You were I don't know if you were enjoying it, but what kind of
Eh,
prompted you from a maybe emotional standpoint? Like what prompted you to start your own thing? I know that you were thinking about having Lunchpool as a platform or not, but like what motivated you to actually take that leap? Because a lot of people see it as literally a leap into the unknown and scary, whether or not they want to create a platform or a consultancy or a thought leadership,
yeah.
kind of thing, or earn some extra income or turn that side hustle into something. Like what actually prompted you to take that leap?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's one of my favorite movies is Good Will Hunting, and he says he says leap and the net shall appear, and you got to take that leap. If you look at all successful entrepreneurs, they kind of flirted with the idea, they worked on it part time, and then they're like, just screw it, I'm just going to try. And when you say that, it forces you to make it work. Like if you have no other options, it's going to work. Or, I mean, failure is just giving up. If you don't give up, you can't fail because you're just working on it, you know? And so I think that for me, at least, it was, I had a taste of early success. You know, I had the website I mentioned earlier in college. I was a fun entrepreneur. I had no business sense back then. I had a lot of fun with what I was doing. I was getting free bar tabs, wrecking my liver at every bar I would go to and throw a party at. Getting to meet bands and concerts. You know, like it was awesome. And so I got a taste of what it was like to build something, to create something, and after that, it was just idea after idea after idea, and ultimately, I wrecked myself. I didn't check myself. I had three businesses at the same time. I had Deer Drunk Me. Divided by Zero was a little like hippie head shop with like Spencer's Gift with soul kind of. And then I, not that if you're watching the Spencer's Gift, or you don't have, yeah, never mind. And I had Able Multimedia developing websites in Joomla, which I don't even think is a thing anymore.
It's still a thing. Oh, it's
It's
definitely
okay. Oh, I didn't know
Drupal
that.
and Joomla.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's still things.
absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
build in WordPress now, but um, and TeamFlow. I'm trying to get into it. I'm not sure about TeamFlow, but I had that taste and I crashed and I burned. You know, like my mom's here. She remembers the 2 weeks when I was like, "Mom, I need to stay with you. I hope this isn't a long term thing." But man, I am at a low. And then I think you hear about a lot of entrepreneurs that get to that point because they just go. They go for the gusto and then they eat it. You know, they eat the pavement. But it's really it's kind of a phenomenon that has a positive, bent to it, because hitting rock bottom shows you there is a rock bottom. I didn't die, like I made it through. And so what happened is, I've told it in a few speeches and things. I declared Chapter 7 bankruptcy with $120,000 in debt. 60,000 was written off. 60,000 was student loans, and in America, you have to pay back. Like you can't write off the federal loans, and so it sucked. And I tell people I spent a hundred, or my iron gut cost me $120,000 because I will never go back there. And so I went to corporate America because I realized I don't have a lick of business sense. I don't know how to delegate. I don't know how to manage people. And so, that's my time in corporate America. To me, was I'm going to let someone else take the risk and I'm going to learn. I'm going to help them. I'm going to do a great job, but I'm not going to have to worry if I'm ever going to get back there for a while. And so I didn't know the term, but there's a term called entrepreneur. And one of my friends, Allison, told me about that. And she's like, "You're an entrepreneur." And I was like, I immediately know what that is. And you're right. So it's, I was probably pretty annoying in most of my jobs because my boss would tell me to do something. I'd be like, "Why?" And they'd be like, "Because I said so." And I'd be like, "But let me tell you why I don't think that's a good idea." I was pitching them, and trying to change the company like it was mine, which can be good or bad. But ultimately, I wanted to get out of it. I wanted to go back and do my own thing because I think everybody should have their own thing. Honestly, even my employees, I tell them all the time, like start a side hustle. Mary, I've tried to to hint that I want her business to absorb into mine because she does these amazing live painting classes on Zoom and I think other platforms. And I'm just joking, Mary. I always am joking because I want you and everybody to have their own thing. Like there's nothing like it. As you know, entrepreneurship is so freeing, and so it's worth that risk of this might not work. This might literally send me to rock bottom, but you can always get back.
No, that's incredible, and I think that it's a lot that understanding that yes, obviously hitting rock bottom, whatever that is for each of us, is oftentimes a forging experience, just as much as it is a debilitating one. But I think figuring out how to harness energy. I don't really necessarily take that the whole, energy can't be created, it can only be moved. But at the same time, negative energy can certainly be harnessed and moved. And I think that's
Mary says I made her an offer. That's kind of true, but not the whole true.
keep hold out for more, Mary. That's I guess my only advice. If he's
Good advice.
mentioning you, you gotta work
Yeah.
that. But I think the especially if you're starting off on your own, it's a very lonely decision that you made, or that anybody makes in terms of wanting to start a company, start a business, start a side hustle, whatever you want to call it. Because at the end of the day, I think we often we undervalue community. We undervalue a team, right? When we're in the team, and nothing hits you in the face like a ton of bricks once you like when you've decided to start something on your own, and it never really goes away. And I think that's something that a lot of people are like, yeah, of course, it's very lonely, I'm the big shot, but it's like, no, it's really lonely.
It's lonely. It's dark. It's a
It's
dark place.
dark, yes. Yeah,
Uh,
it certainly can be. And so, yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people aren't comfortable these days talking about mental health, but
Mm.
I try to talk about financial immaturity and mental health a lot because there are mental health issues that run in my family, and I found out, through this process of going back into entrepreneurship, I am also a hereditary recipient of the award-winning prize of mental health issues, and my team knows that better than anybody. But I'm upfront with them about it, and I'm like, "Hey, you are about to embark on a journey with Lunchpool. I am a crazy person, and I don't mean that like if anybody has mental health issues, I don't think that you're crazy, but I just want my team to know up front if I'm being very unreasonable, it's because I'm not in control, and I will always strive to be in control. But they hold me accountable, right? It's the people around me that are like, oh, it's Alex. He's in the dark place again. We got to get him out of there.
But you saying
Um,
that is you relinquishing control, and that's
yeah,
actually a tough barrier to cross, certainly the first time, but I'm sure every single time, that
yeah,
you literally are saying, no, this isn't actually my baby. It can't be
yeah,
fully my baby. I need some help, or I need another part
yeah.
there. Otherwise, I know I know myself, and that's a tough chasm to jump the first time.
Yeah, it really is. But on the same vein, um, I hate it. On this. I don't know if you can see it on this little banner back here. There's like the first app we built, or you can't see it well. But one of the pools, the like groups we call them pools, was Game of Thrones fan. And I hate talking about Game of Thrones now because it was so cool back then, and now season 8 just ruined it. Like it's done for me. But one of the characters, Tyrion Lannister, he said something that like stuck with me, and it was, if you or once you own your weaknesses, they become your strengths. And I was like, yes, yes, because that, if you're struggling with mental health issues, own it. Say, look, I'm bipolar, or I am OCD, or I am whatever, ADHD. And people, just communicating that with people is relinquishing that control. And in return, they will guard you. Like your community, they will guard you. They will know where you're susceptible to being poked, and they'll shield it for you. And like, what's better than that? Like, it doesn't get better than that. So like that loneliness at the beginning stages was well worth my team now, because we have a team of, I don't even know how many. I lose count when I'm trying to email everybody individually. We need a distro because I'm just like Cassandra and D. I go in alphabetical order, but I think we have 12 now, and growing from one, or we won a hackathon at the beginning, so it was like 5 to we all kind of went part time. But when I went full time, it was just me, and then we had another full timer, and then another and another and another and another, and building that community and that team, like, they don't get paid enough. They don't get recognized enough, but I try every day to pay them more and recognize them more, and just let them know you do have purpose, if for nothing else than for helping me get through this difficult life, and helping our clients as well. They're really good at it.
And that's the flip side to the loneliness and the jumping off the cliff. And as you say, is it the net that you're making, or you're constructing the wings on the way down, whatever the right metaphor is that the rush that happens when you are able to take a switch and figure out how to actually make it to switch on,
Yeah,
versus when it was off before. That kind of stuff is and to know that you wouldn't have been able to do it yourself. So harnessing that group and empowering that group,
yep,
that there's another ego. There's a lot of ego involved in that too. But like that's also super important.
yeah.
And I think the flip side of the loneliness that a lot of people feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you guys are, if you're watching this team, you're the wind beneath my wings. I'm not going to sing it because they know I sing sometimes and it's never good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
not
cool.
doing
I mean,
it.
we could talk for hours, but I think we need to cut it off somewhere. I think,
We'll talk.
but
We'll talk out offline. We build a
exactly. Well,
relationship here.
I'll see you in Team Flow, right? I'll send you a Team Flow thing, and you just come into our office. But I did want people to know that what is it? Is it Friday is National Friday, which is the 18th, is National Take Back the Lunch Break Day, and
The most important holiday
the
of
most
all of
important
the day.
holiday. It's on all your calendars anyway. But that on Friday, you guys are running an event, Take Back, letslunchpool.com/take back lunch. Or if you look at the hashtag Take Back Lunch on the socials, you'll be able to find information there. Can you just tell us just a little bit, like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is Take Back the Lunch Day? The lunch break day? What's that all about?
So it's like every year I forget about it until I see, like, I don't know why. I always find out.
It's uniquely, appropriate for your business.
It really is. It really is. So we found out about this when I was first starting Lunchpool, and I was like, "Oh, awesome! We're gonna start like a." It was a half-baked campaign to get people to commit to pledge to taking a lunch break on that day, and everybody was confused. It was chaos. We didn't have a list. It was just like me posting on social media, like, "Take a lunch break. Do it right now." And so, in a similar vein, I've been planning. We're starting our own event series. So similar to your live videos, I do lunch break lives to show people this is just what it's like to have a lunch break with somebody. It's easy to talk, and even if you're an introvert, you can do that if you talk about what you love. But basically, the take back the lunch break day thing is a running joke where I was like, we need to do these events. We need to do these events. I was like, oh crap, take back the lunch break day is next Friday. This was last Friday. I was like, we're doing it. We're going hard. And so we had one lined up with Spatial Chat, one of the platforms that we use, and it's cool. Like I love Remo, I love Team Flow, I love all these events that we've built partnerships with. Spatial Chat is something special. It's spatial audio, obviously, but it's I don't know. Hopefully, people can come. We've got so far, I think 210 because I'm an idiot savant at hyping up events. That's one thing that Deer Drunk Meat gave me, being in the production world and promotion. But it's I think we have 100 attendee registrations, and we're giving away free pizza. So I was like, how do you get a bunch of people to come to an event? Everybody knows this from college. If you want people to come to your study group, free food. And so yeah, if you we've got sponsored.
And how are you doing that? How are you giving away free pizza?
I'm just giving away money, just left and right. No, we people right now, attention is currency. So we have some sponsors. I have a meeting. Hopefully, I'm not late for it. Oh God,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
I probably am. Yeah, let's wrap this. But
Anyway, all right. Thanks so much for joining, Alex. Alex, you can find him on LinkedIn. You can follow him on Twitter at I_am_Abel with 2 L's. And don't forget to check out Take Back Lunch on Friday. Thanks so much.
see you. Thanks again,
Alrighty,
Rob, for
take
having me.
care. See
Bye,
ya.
guys.